now? What are we gonna do now?
Alright, welcome back to the True Geordie YouTube channel. Subscribe if you're thirsty for more. Today we're talking more underwater stuff, because you lot loved that last one. I tell you, I've never had so many nice comments about myself. Made us want to go back diving, but then I realised it's actually quite hard, and I'm quite comfortable sitting here wondering, is my tea hot enough? Not, am I going to survive today? So the Titanic sub thing is winding down to a close now, and it turns out there was one geezer I'd been on there 37 times. I'm like, what is this? Fucking Epstein's plane. Surely you see one Titanic, you've seen them all. And I wanted to create a series about these kind of stories anyway, so I'm going to start today. And we're going to stick with the sea theme that I've started off with anyway, and tell you the unbelievable story of a man called Harrison O'Kenny. Now, O'Kenny was a cook on a tugboat, small boat, that was 19 miles off the coast of Nigeria on the way to an oil tanker. Then a huge wave suddenly capsized the boat, sending the boat underwater. Now, this was a first for O'Kenny because, you know, he knew the seas. Even as a chef, he was not used to anywhere near this level of problem before. He began rushing through the ship to try and escape, obviously, as you would. The problem was, many of the doors were locked to prevent pirates from entering, which is obviously quite common in those waters, and we've heard a lot of tales of pirate attacks, and we've all seen the movie I'm the Captain Now. And he became trapped inside of one of the officers' toilets as water is pouring into this ship, sinking to the bottom of the sea. By some freaky stroke of luck, an air pocket was contained within this toilet that he was stuck in. So he could breathe, but he was in total darkness and he was freezing cold, because let me tell you, someone who's been down there, he would have been in agony through how cold he would have been as the water is rising up through his body and he is just barely breathing. I found this this good cartoon that actually shows what happened as the water flowed in. It's a little South Parky, but you get the idea. And as other people are escaping, you can see he's holding on inside this toilet as the boat is now on the seabed upside down. So Harrison is 100 feet underwater, 30 meters that is. If he even figures a way out of that, he wouldn't even make it to the surface without dying. He is fucked. His only hope is to hold on for dear life, hope that the hypothermia doesn't get him, the lack of oxygen doesn't get him, anything out of the ship doesn't do something and fucking kill him. He needs to be rescued. He needs a hero. So as the cartoon shows, he's turning blue. He's only in his boxer shorts as well. It's not even like he's got a cardigan on that he's nana made him or anything. On the plus side, you can piss and shit anyway because you're in a toilet. His body is losing heat faster than his body can create it. So slowly but surely, he is dying here. He managed to fashion himself a platform. And this is where I just love men sometimes, because this is the manliest shit ever, innit? He's stuck on a fucking boat upside down 30 meters under the water, and here he is thinking on his feet, grabbing everything he can to build himself a platform that he can climb up onto to get himself out of the water, to conserve his body heat and keep himself alive. It looks like he actually used a bed that was somehow floating. Maybe he's got a quick nap in while he was at it. The air pocket that has been contained inside this toilet was about 13.5 cubic meters. It takes about 56 hours for carbon dioxide toxicity to set in when you're rebreathing air. O'Kenny had been down there for around 60 hours. It would have taken 79 hours from the carbon dioxide to finally start taking its toll on him and turn him unconscious. Contrary to popular belief, when you're trapped in confined spaces, it's not running out of oxygen that kills you. It's actually rebreathing the carbon dioxide that will kill you. I mean, either way, you're fucked. So you've got all that time to contemplate your life, to think about your loved ones having to go on without you, people you're never going to see again. It's basically mental torture. As you're getting colder, panic sets in. As you're in this tiny confined space, a lot of people have claustrophobia and panic sets in there. You start breathing and you start having panic attacks. This requires mental strength of the absolute highest order. And from experience, I have seen some really tough guys turn into pussycats underwater, me included. Like, when you're panicking underwater and you're not in control, one of the scariest things people can go through in life, and especially for 3 days, that is brutal. And all the while, there's dead bodies down there with him. The people who you've been working with, who you've probably had good relationships with, are floating around somewhere in this boat. It must have been like something out of a horror movie. Now, meanwhile, a dive support vessel has been sent to where the boat sank to recover the bodies so that at least the relatives of those who died would be able to bury their loved ones. What they didn't expect was what they found.
Okay. It's on the opposite end of the officer's mess, okay, that wall. And then it goes around a corner.
And at this point, they're inside the boat, and they've already recovered 4 dead bodies.
What have you got there? That's stairs, yeah?
Yeah, that's stairs, yeah.
Okay, so you found it.
Yeah.
So you can hear the voice of a guy who's speaking very clearly with a South African accent. He is like the dive supervisor who is up on the boat talking through the communication into the diver. The reason the diver's voice is squeaky is because they're not breathing oxygen. It's a combination of gases in order to allow them to safely stay at that depth for longer periods of time in the event where you need to do that, like where you're having to rescue all of these people. It's not as simple as just jump down and jump back up. This is going to take a while. So as you can see, he's being guided through this ship underwater that is currently upside down, just to discombobulate him even more. And it isn't, you know, bright blue water. It is black. It is murky. It is hard to figure out where he's going. And when you are having to use touch and sense to figure out where you are and almost develop a 3D picture of the structure you're inside in your own mind, while battling against, you know, agoraphobia, claustrophobia, and all the panic that can set in, especially when you're coming up against dead bodies. You're literally having people floating towards you at times. And I remember once upon a time I signed on and I said I was going to, you know, up for doing some rescue stuff with the police. And in retrospect, I'm glad I never ended up doing that, because this shit must be traumatizing for these guys. Badass motherfuckers.
What's that? Oh, okay. That's horrible. Alright, you found one, yeah?
There's someone around
He's
you.
alive, he's alive.
He's alive.
Okay, keep him there, keep him there.
Wow.
Fucking hell. I don't know what we're gonna do now. Alright, just reassure him, pat him on the shoulder.
And there he is. Amazing. Absolutely unbelievable. 3 days underwater, so far beneath the surface. No food, no water. This is unbelievable. And when you look at the way the dive supervisor reacts when they first discover him, he thought he was dead. He goes, oh, it's just another one.
Fucking hell. I don't know what we're gonna do now.
As you can hear, it's not as simple as, all right, we'll just keep him breathing air and take him up to the surface. Like, this guy's been under pressure at depth for days on end, and you don't know what kind of scientific approach you're going to need to take in order to what he's going to breathe, how you're going to get him out. Are we going to have to put a diving helmet on him and dive him out of here? I've never seen anything like this before. This is another level. And look at him. What a man. What a man to survive that, to stay alive. That's when you find out what your real survival instincts are, because some people would crumble in that, and yet he is in his boxer shorts just saying, I'm going to keep going till the bitter end. They were worried about the severe risk of decompression related illness or injury, because if you return to the surface too quickly, and I've seen this happen before where people have not taken enough time to recover themselves up the surface, and it can cause death. It is as serious as it gets. So, you know, I've seen a man like fucking really looking bad before, you know, on a diving job I was on, where I thought he was absolutely brown bread, and luckily they managed to put him in a chamber and decompress him again, and he was fine. But this is a monumental task they now have on their hands to save him. It's not as simple as we've got him, he's saved.
So you'll be attached like that. First we'll get him dressed, and then we're basically gonna... How's that passage to bring him out? Is it okay?
It's fucking tight, man.
Is it?
Yeah.
I love South Africans. How's that passage to bring him out? It's fucking tight, eh? As you can see, he's now drinking water, and they are going to try and dive him out. Now, if you've never dived before, the best thing to do is do it in a little scuba gear in a swimming pool. Because then if you panic, you just stand up, take the hat. Because a lot of the problem is when people feel the claustrophobia of the actual equipment on them, they freak out. It happens to most divers when they first start doing it. And this man is going to have to do it the first time ever, 30 meters underwater in black water, never dived before in his life. To say that's a challenge is an understatement.
Alright, now you mustn't panic, eh? You must listen to me, alright?
This is like, you've never had a fight before and your first fight is against Mike Tyson. So they put a jacket on him and they're going to use these little clips here to keep a hold of him.
Are you sore?
And they're now having a conversation with him. They can now hear what he's saying.
Okay. I want you. What's your name? Harrison.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Harrison. My name is Colby. Okay, and I'm gonna bring you home, okay? And the diver that's helping you now, his name is Nico. Okay, that's Nico, okay? There's another guy on the outside. Free flow his hat so he doesn't get too hot.
This dive supervisor who's talking to him, he's just doing a superb job because he's keeping them calm. For me, that's one of the most hardest things for anyone to go through down there, is to just stay calm. So he's telling them, what's your name? Oh, this is Nico. And look, whether it's working or not, I'm sure he's still worried, but it's just good practice for him.
What is your rank? You're the cook. They always survive.
I love that. You're the cook. They always survive.
You're going to follow Nico, okay? Out of the Jascon 4, okay? All right.
Wow. So this cable here that he's holding on to, that's everything he's breathing, all of his technological needs, like the microphone, the camera, the light, all of that. They call it the umbilical because it's everything you need, basically.
Hold your hands, two hands. Hold 2 hands, okay? All right. Okay, Harrison, you mustn't take your hat off, okay? You must just breathe nicely, yeah?
He's saying you mustn't take your hat off because a lot of people, in a panic, just want to rip it off because everything, it feels so unnatural. It's like you're being strangled almost, that human instinct kicks in and you're like, just get it off. And what he's worried about is if you start with that shit, which happens, when you get out of the boat, you are fucked.
All right, let's go. You hold your umbilical and you listen to me, okay? All right, we're going now. Put your head underwater and breathe comfortably, okay? Okay, how's that? Are you alright, Harrison? Are you comfortable?
This is mental. This is absolutely mental. Because the first time you put your head underwater with that hat on, it feels completely bizarre. You're like, okay, I'm underwater, but I'm breathing and I'm able to talk. So that level of confusion after 3 days of nearly dying under, this very intelligent man who's talking is obviously saying to him, trying to make it as non-instructional as possible and follow the diver.
Yeah, you must say Roger, okay? Alright. Now we're bringing you slowly out past the chief engineer's cabin and you're coming to the outside of the vessel, okay?
So unfortunately, the remaining crew members did not survive, but Harrison did, thank God. And as it happens, you would think, what's the last thing Harrison would ever want to do again? Go anywhere near the water. But this is where Harrison's different. And I really have so much respect for this guy, because as you'll see in the top comment of this video, Harrison O'Kenny abandoned his fear and became a certified commercial diver in 2015. And the rescue diver who discovered him at the bottom of the sea was the one to present him with his diploma. I've heard this a few places, so I'm pretty confident that is bang on. And what does that say about the mental strength of this guy, that, he ended up becoming a career diver after doing his first dive, saving his own life with the help of that great diving team. I mean, unbelievable. One of the funniest bits of this story is that he actually found a bottle of Coke when he was down there, and that's what helped him sustain himself throughout all of this. Coca-Cola. And I've actually found an interview with Harrison here.
When I was riding in the water, when I have access to nothing, right down inside the water, I thought of my family, thought of my mom, my brothers, my wife. I have access to none of them, no way to get to them. And I was riding in the water and I know I'm going to die. But the only thing I could put my hope and trust in and my confidence in is God. I don't know it's up to 3 days because I was thinking it's just a day, maybe it's getting to the evening. I was there, keep on praying. When I prayed for some time, I stopped. And I said, God, let that will be done as it is in heaven, because I have tried my best. And I have called on you and you have never failed me before. And you will never fail me at all in my life. So as I said that, to me, if death comes, let it comes. If death did not come, I know He's going to rescue me. So as I was there like that, I kept calm. And I was bold because I was not afraid anymore, because I know it's life and death. The line is already drawn.
Powerful words from Harrison. Sometimes that's all people can hold on to is their religious beliefs in that moment. They hope and pray. That is the difference for some people between life and death. Not necessarily that there is a God or there isn't a God. That's a different video. But the hope and the belief that there is someone out there who cares and will save you and send someone. The power of the mind as well. I'm a full believer in that. And this man is a strong dude for sure. I love this story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to be doing different kinds of stories, the weird and wonderful, the miraculous, but also the dark and morbid, which I do find fascinating. I've got to be honest, serial killers really interest me. So I'm going to be doing more of these throughout the year. Subscribe if you enjoyed this one. We got plenty more coming, as well as the podcast, of course, and the fighting channel, the ping game, and the football channel, the kickoff. I'm just killing it. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.